Hello, buddy. Senior engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about a topic that I think should be addressed nowadays, especially during this market crash, during this potential recession, whether you want to technically call it a recession or not. Obviously, stocks are down, just like I covered in yesterday's video. I do think there's a message here that I want to sort of convey, and it's to be careful to who you're getting your advice from, who you're listening to, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, whoever you listen to, even those billionaires or podcast episodes and so on, millionaires, what they actually often do is they say what you want to hear, right? So if you know this is a market crash, then they're sort of going to talk about everything that makes sense for you to hear about during this market crash, right? So a quick example, right? Very quick example. I won't play the clip here because I don't think it's really necessary here, but this morning or last night, the All In podcast, obviously I've referenced those guys a couple of times in our channel here. Few billionaires basically get together. They talk about a bunch of stuff in the markets. Of course, they're VCs, involved in private markets, so they have a different perspective than some of us do, if not all of us at this point, really, because I doubt there's any billionaires watching our channel here. But the point here is they obviously have a wide array of network, wide array of contacts. They have so many conversations through dinners, through meetings, and so on. And in today's episode, actually, they brought on Bill Gurley, right? Bill Gurley is one of those legendary investors. If you guys watch Super Pumped, the TV show, you guys know who Gurley is at this point, but he obviously invested in Uber in the very, very early days and had a good storyline between himself and Uber. But the point here is that Bill Gurley comes on and talks about the current markets, right? And actually, a lot of people give him credits for sort of calling this market crash and so on. And, you know, I'm not going to really comment on that. My point in bringing this up is that he actually talks about in this episode that was posted today, how interest rates, right? Interest rates are sort of correlated with market. As you increase interest rates, the volatility of stocks sort of, grow way higher than 10, 15 to 20% at times, 20% crashes and so on. And the point here I'm trying to make is that, during these market crashes, you have all these guys coming on episodes on YouTube, on podcast episodes, and sort of, laying down their theories, right? And it really makes sense because we're actually in a market crash. It's the same thing if things were reversed. If you guys remember in 2018, 2019, I would say after that crash in 2018, when things started picking back up in early 2019, this was, of course, a year before the pandemic. Lots of people were saying now, oh yeah, the whole crash was due to China, the trade war, and now we're back into it. Apple started breaking records, Netflix started posting records. You had, Airbnb preparing for the IPO at the time. You had Tesla sort of ramping up Model 3. So you had this huge, lots of news, lots of positive news, right? And people were making sense out of all of that, right? So all of us started watching these episodes back in 2019, and things started making sense, right? Because things are going well, things are going great. Same thing in the pandemic, right? When the pandemic hit, everyone was watching videos, everyone was listening to podcast episodes. When you had that crash in late February, early March, and it freaked the world out, and people were worried. But when things started picking back up, then you had a bunch of people coming on explaining why things are picking back up, and things were looking good. And then, what I'm getting at is you as a listener, you are often drawn to episodes. You are often drawn to an audience that sort of resonates what you're already thinking, right? So if you're thinking about this market crash, if you're thinking about this negativity, then the likelihood for you to tune in for those types of episodes where people are sort of explaining this market crash, making sense of all of that is very high, right? Because again, people are drawn into things they're thinking about at the current moment, right? At the, n equaled, if n was equal to time, let's call the variable t, right? If t was equal to the time variable, then t plus 1 would basically require you to think and watch about what's going on in the t present value, right? So that means everything you do for the next hour, next day, next week, next month is sort of, it's sort of prejudged by your T value, right? What are you thinking right now, right? If you're thinking about this market crash, if you're thinking about this negativity, then the likelihood for you to listen to episodes, whether that's on podcast platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, or on YouTube, the videos you want to watch, are really, really likely to be what you're thinking about right now, right? And the point I'm trying to get to you across right now is you really have to be careful. So why you're watching particular videos, right? I've always said it in this video, in our videos, in this channel. I've always said it. We don't provide financial advice. I always want you guys to do your own research, build your own conviction. I mean, if you started listening to our channel when it started, I was sort of all high and very bullish on CRISPR companies like CRISPR Therapeutics and TLA and so on. And all those companies that I was bullish about are, by the time I started these videos, they're down like 30 to 50% in some cases, right? I mean, Teladoc is a great genomics company that I sort of thought that the 80s would be the low end, and clearly they went well below 80. So I never provide financial advice, but what I do provide is an option for you guys to sort of tune in at the daily basis. And get your brains juicing, right? That's the purpose of these videos, right? That has always been my mantra, right? It's not necessarily to explain the current market and sort of draw as many people as I can on my channel, or listen or get the most eyeballs just by saying popularity topics, right? It's like being a populist. That's not really the mission of this channel. In fact, if you really wanted me to drill down into this point, CRISPR, the whole space of CRISPR is so unknown at this point, right? I'm making these videos on CRISPR, and if anybody watching this channel, maybe you're in the CRISPR landscape, you're like, no, Hassan, of course it's a popular topic. It is a popular topic within the landscape. Even today, right, no one knows about the data that Caribou, delivered 2 weeks ago. No one, period. No one knows. Like, if you think people know, it'll be like 0.00 something percent, right? Even in the investor marketplace. I'm not talking about the general population. I'm not talking about that, because obviously the numbers are going to be skewed then. I'm talking the investor landscape. I mean, there was this tweet. I'm going on a tangent here, but hear me out. There was this tweet. Someone said, if Elon would fix cancer, he would still be, criticized. And my first thought was like, well, do people even know that there's actually an ongoing clinical program that's showing promising results? Not a cure, but promising results for phase 1 from Caribou for CAR T cells. Does anybody even know that? And the answer is probably not, right? The number is so small in the investor space. So we're so early in this space. And I just went on a tangent here to really go and reaffirm the point that I'm not trying to be a populist here. What I'm trying to do is give an insight to our viewers, to our audience, to our community as we grow this community. It's also I want to warn you guys that during these next couple of weeks, next couple of months, you're going to have a lot of these episodes like the all-ins. And just as a reminder, I'm a huge fan of the all-in. Bill Gurley, I'm a huge fan. I've listened to his works. I've read his works. I'm a huge fan of it. So disclaimer, I have nothing against those particular advice or those particular people. It's just that the timing of the advice, the timing of those videos, it might skew your T variable, right? That's what I'm getting at. Your T variable, what are you thinking right now, right? It might skew with that because T+1 will lead you to going back to this vicious circle of looking to negative news. And I'm not trying to say that you need to be positive in order for the markets to go up. That's not the point here. The point here is that you have to be careful as to what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're spending your time to, right? I've actually said this a couple of videos ago. I think a lot of people would do way better just by, shutting down Twitter, shutting down Reddit, just watching these videos maybe, but really going through their hobbies, picking up a hobby or two, spending more time with their family and friends, because they're so addicted with this vicious cycle on legacy media like CNBC, Bloomberg. They're always tuning in for the big red flash, Bitcoin dropping, Tesla dropping, Elon Musk, the allegations right now going on, the whole pandemic news. I mean, people crave for negativity, right? And I guess the point of this video is to be careful, right? Be careful what you're spending your time into. Expect people to post a lot of videos that make sense, right? They make sense, but again, it also would have made sense if things were going up. I guarantee you things would still make sense because those videos would be tailored for that particular environment, right? Food for thought. Again, I don't know how this video will get to you. If it did get to you, if you get your brains juicing, leave me a comment below. It does help the channel, of course. This community is growing, so thank you so much for liking our videos, for subscribing, and I'll see you guys during the week in the next video. Hopefully you guys have a beautiful Monday. It is off for Canadians, so hopefully you guys have as well a beautiful day. Thank you.